The next big project I have on my Ram 1500 1996 second generation is replacing the upper and then below here the lower ball joints. I've got the truck wheel off, obviously. I've jacked it up on the rails of the truck, which is a very stable point. The thing I need to do is remove this entire assembly off so I can get access to removing the ball joints. I moved the brake caliper piston back using a crowbar, and so the wheel spins freely. The next thing is get an Allen wrench, a large Allen wrench, to get these two bolts off, to get the brake calipers off. And I use a cheater bar to break it. Loosen the bolts from both sides of the caliper, and now I'm able to remove the brake caliper. And you don't want this brake caliper, it's heavy, to hang, so I just put the brake caliper on top of the arm there so it doesn't fall. Take this cotter pin out, loosen the nuts up here. I've got to put some penetrant here. Take this bolt off. I don't know what size this is, but you need a fairly large socket, and I'll use the cheater bar. I don't want to take it completely off, but I'm going to hit this knuckle very hard because there's a taper bolt right here, and I don't want this unit to fall because the spring is pushing it. So I turn the wheel, and I'm going to hit this knuckle right here out from this other side. And it loosened up, it dropped on top of the nut. Focus on this tire rod. Okay. Oh, came off. There you go. I'm using this socket, 15/16 socket, to loosen this bolt. Throw some penetrant in there. Use a cheater bar. So this tapered bolt is not loosening up, so I'm gonna, after banging hard on it, it's not coming down. So I'm gonna get some heat this up, and we'll see what happens after this. So I heated it up, and let's see how this loosens up. So I'm gonna try this one here. Looks like I've gotten that one loosened up. I jacked it up a bit, and I'm going to reduce it, jack it down. It's very heavy. I got this ball joint remover set from Pep Boys, and it's this number right here, 272023. And I also got their other set here, 27310, and it's good to have this one also. They'll let you have both of these sets for about a month. This is my setup of the press. the ball joint needs to be pushed out this way. So on top I've got a ring that goes around here, but it's big enough so it'll clear the ball joint flange. So put that on top. This locks in here, and then from the bottom it's being pushed up. So I got another one of these that's has a large enough hole that it's pressing against the flange of the ball joint, and it's going to be pushed up this way. So I got the clamp. It's going to be pressing downward, but which will be pressing this part of the C-clamp up. So I've got this thing set like this. And I like to swing this thing over here because it hits the bracket there. Barely has clearance up here, but so I'll use one of these crescent wrenches to turn this. I'm gonna have to get some leverage pretty soon here. It's getting easier. This ball joint needs to be pushed down, so to remove it, and there's a ring that I have to remove first before I can push it out. Okay. I'm going to push this ball joint out now, and this is what is going to be my setup. Be on top of here and press it out this way. I'm going to have this large ring, and this clears the ball joint flange here, so it's resting on the control arm. So this surface is on the control arm, so it fits under here. This fit underneath here. Have the C-clamp leaning in against the lower control arm. I'm going to lube this a little bit. It's on there pretty good, so this cheater bar helps a lot. It's starting to get easier. I was able to take the ball joint out of the lower control arm and popped right out. And here's the replacement. It comes from being underneath here. I will clean off this area. I'm going to put some lube on here, not only for ease of installation, but prevent rust from building up as water gets on here through the years, and it will repel the rust. Turns out that what I have available as far as these rings don't have the right size. These are too tall. I need something about this high. The height of that. So I went to Home Depot and I got myself one of these table leg flanges, and it's about the right height. It's about the same height as this over here. I'm going to get a grinder and cut this part off so I can get it underneath here. Cut down the floor flange, and it looks like this now. I used one of these cutting wheels. First thing I'm going to do is take this boot off. The press setup, I'm going to use ball joint, and it's going to go from the bottom like that, and it's going to be pressed upwards. I got the bottom part here, and this is going to push up that. It's going to be pushed upward. We got this one. that. As you can see, I'm using a very long breaker bar. This was quite hard. Once I got it seated, going up evenly, all of a sudden it gets real easy and it snaps in. So you might have to try this a few times to adjust how this is going in. If it's going in at an angle, then you have to start back over again. I checked from the bottom and it's seated all the way around from the bottom, and just have to put the lock ring on without using these lock ring pliers, putting it on the lock ring. I just put one side of the lock ring here like so, and then I get this and I pull it in. Okay, good. It looks like it's been seated. I'll clean up the edges. And I'll put the boot back on. Okay. I'll work on the top ball joint now. Clean this area out. Dust. It's going to be pressed downward like this. I'm going to lube the inside ring here. I want to make sure it seats evenly. This one went in much more easily. I did use a cheater bar here. The setup I have here is it's pushing it down, and I've got this right here, a ring, small ring, for this ring. So I've got this seated properly all the way down. I'm putting the grease fitting. Next, I'm going to put the boot on the top ball joint. And then put the wire clamp on. Keep that on one side, and then grab the other. Okay, it's a good chance now to, while I have good access to this, is to fill these with grease. I can see it's filling up, so that's enough. I put the nut on the bottom ball joint in with this ratchet, and now I'm going to align the top ball joint using an auto jet. You don't want to damage the threads, so you just use like a wooden mallet or something here. Seated. Put some lube on here. I'm going to spray this silicone on the rubber parts and the bushings to preserve it and reduce the amount of squeaking that occurs. So back there we got a bushing. There's another one. And also the bottom here. I'm going to tighten this up, and this is going to be about 55 pounds torque. New cotter pin in here. The bottom ball joint is also 55 pounds torque. going to put the tie rod back on. Lube it a little bit here. Torque this to about 60 pounds. 65. Put a cotter pin in. Alright, we're putting the brake caliper back on. Silicone on here. Silicone. Torque on these brake calipers is about 100 pounds, so I don't have a torque wrench that will fit this Allen wrench, so I'm gonna just have to estimate, just do it by feel.